You don't have to feel ready to start, you just have to start. Life has a way of testing us, especially when we feel broke, tired, and completely on our own. These moments aren't meant to break you, they're meant to reveal your true strength and push you toward growth. Success isn't handed to those who wait, it's earned by those who take action. Even in the face of challenges, waiting for the perfect moment or ideal circumstances is a trap that keeps many people stuck. The truth is, you don't need to wait for things to get easier, for resources to magically appear, or for someone to come to your rescue. You already have what you need to begin. It starts with a decision to act now exactly as you are, with exactly what you have. In this video, we're going to explore how to rise above these challenges, how to take what you have, no matter how little, and transform it into a foundation for success. You have the power to turn exhaustion into determination, scarcity into creativity, and solitude into independence. By the end of this, you'll see that what feels like a struggle today can become the strength you carry into tomorrow. Let's begin this journey together. Number 1. Start from zero. Starting from zero can feel overwhelming, but it's where so many great stories begin. When you have nothing, there's a strange kind of clarity. No distractions, no extra noise, just you and the chance to build something from scratch. And let me tell you, some of the most successful people you've ever heard of started exactly where you are at zero. It's easy to look at your situation and think, I don't have money, I don't know the right people, I don't have the tools. But here's the truth, those things aren't what builds success. Success starts with a decision. It's about looking at where you are, deciding you're going to start, and then actually doing it. That's where the magic begins. When you start from nothing, you learn to be resourceful. You figure things out. You solve problems. You get creative. Don't have the money for expensive tools. That's okay, start with what's free. There's a world of resources out there waiting for you to use them. You can learn skills online, reach out to people, or start something small that doesn't need a lot of money. The key is this: you start where you are and you use what you've got. Starting from zero forces you to focus. When you don't have extra stuff cluttering your life, you're able to see what really matters. You start prioritizing your time, your energy, and your efforts. And let me tell you, that focus is a gift. It's what helps you move forward. You have to believe in yourself. You've got to believe that just because you're at zero now, that's not where you're going to stay. It's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's about knowing you can create something better, even if nobody else sees it yet. That belief is where it all starts. Once you believe, you take action. And action is the thing that separates people who dream from people who achieve. It doesn't have to be a big, life-changing action. It can be a small step, sending an email, making a plan, learning something new. The important thing is that you're moving, you're doing something, and every little step adds up over time. When you start from zero, you're going to face rejection. You'll make mistakes. You might fail a few times. But guess what? That's part of it. Every no you hear is one step closer to a yes. Every mistake teaches you something you didn't know before. It's not failure, it's progress in disguise. Keep going. Learn from it. Use it to get better. Another thing you'll learn when you start from zero is how valuable your time is. Time is something you can never get back, so you have to treat it like the treasure it is. Cut out the distractions. Stop wasting hours scrolling or procrastinating. Use your time wisely. Even if you only take small actions every day, those small actions will add up. They'll create momentum, and momentum is what gets you to your goals. As you're building, remember this: you don't need a huge network or a big team to start, but you do need to pay attention to the relationships in your life. Look for people who lift you up, who push you to be better. Surround yourself with people who believe in you. And be that kind of person for others too. Real relationships built on trust and value are worth more than any amount of money or connections. It's easy to look around and compare yourself to others. You see someone else's success and think, they're so far ahead of me, I'll never get there. But let me tell you something, you're not seeing the full picture. You're seeing their highlight reel, not the hard work and struggles that got them there. Focus on your own journey. Celebrate your progress, even if it's small. Trust that what you're doing will pay off in time. And here's the beautiful thing about starting from zero. You have nothing to lose. That means you can take risks. You can try new things. You can step outside your comfort zone because you're not tied down by the fear of losing what you don't have. Use that freedom. It's a huge advantage. Every step you take, every challenge you overcome shapes you into a stronger, more capable person. Starting from zero isn't just about creating something new on the outside. It's about transforming yourself on the inside. You're not just building a business or a career or a new life. You're building a better version of yourself. This journey isn't going to be easy. There will be days when you feel exhausted, when you wonder if it's all worth it. But those tough days are where the real growth happens. They're where you prove to yourself that you're stronger than you thought. So don't quit. Keep showing up. Keep working. Keep believing in what you're building. Remember, every big achievement starts with someone making the choice to begin. It doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you're going. And it all begins with that first step. Use what you've got. Do what you can. And keep moving forward. The rest will take care of itself. Number 2. Act now. Don't wait. There's a trap that many people fall into when they're thinking about their goals or dreams. It's the trap of waiting. Waiting for the perfect time. Waiting until you have enough money, enough knowledge, enough experience. But let me tell you something, there's never a perfect time. The perfect time is right now. If you want to change your life, you've got to act now. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Think about this for a moment. How many times have you told yourself, I'll start when I feel ready? But here's the truth, feeling ready is a myth. Nobody feels completely ready when they're starting something new. It's uncomfortable. It's uncertain. But that's okay, because action doesn't come after confidence. Confidence comes after action. The more you do, the more capable you'll feel. The problem with waiting is that time doesn't wait for you. Every day you spend waiting is a day you're not making progress. And time is something you can't get back. Imagine looking back a year from now and realizing you could have started today. That's a regret nobody wants. So why not save yourself the pain of regret and take the first step right now? It's easy to overthink and get stuck in planning mode. You might think you need to have everything figured out before you begin, but that's not true. Planning is important, but action is what creates results. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. The truth is, most of the time, the path becomes clear as you go. The lessons you learn, the adjustments you make, they happen along the way, not before you start. Another reason people wait is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. But fear isn't something you eliminate before you act. It's something you face as you act. Think about it, what's the worst that could happen? Even if you make a mistake, even if you fail, you'll learn something valuable. And that knowledge puts you one step closer to where you want to be. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of success. Every successful person you know has failed, and they failed a lot. The difference is they kept going. Starting now doesn't mean you have to do something huge or drastic. Small actions count. If you want to get in shape, it could be as simple as going for a walk today. If you want to start a business, it could be as simple as researching your idea or reaching out to someone for advice. The key is to start. Action, no matter how small, creates momentum. And momentum makes it easier to keep going. One of the biggest lessons about acting now is understanding that you don't have to feel motivated to start. Motivation is great when you have it, but it's not reliable. Some days you're not going to feel like doing the work. But that's where discipline comes in. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. And the funny thing is, action often creates motivation. Once you get started, you'll find it's easier to keep going. Another thing to remember is that perfection is the enemy of progress. So many people hold themselves back because they're waiting for everything to be perfect. But perfect doesn't exist. If you're waiting for perfect, you'll be waiting forever. Start where you are with what you have and improve as you go. Done is better than perfect because done moves you forward. Acting now also means letting go of excuses. Excuses are easy to make, and they feel good in the moment because they let you off the hook. But in the long run, excuses hold you back. I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't know how. These are just stories we tell ourselves to avoid taking responsibility. The truth is, if something is important enough to you, you'll find a way. And if it's not, you'll find an excuse. Let's talk about taking responsibility. When you decide to act now, you're taking ownership of your life. You're saying, I'm in control. I decide what happens next. That's a powerful place to be. It means you're not waiting for someone else to rescue you or for circumstances to change. You're making the choice to change your circumstances. And when you do that, you realize how much power you actually have. It's also important to remember that progress, not perfection, is the goal. When you take action, you might not get it right the first time, and that's okay. Progress is about learning and growing. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. And every bit of progress builds confidence and momentum. Success is built one step at a time. Acting now isn't just about achieving your goals, it's about becoming the kind of person who takes action. It's about building habits that serve you. When you get into the habit of taking action, it becomes easier and easier to keep moving forward. You start to trust yourself more because you know you're someone who follows through. Another benefit of acting now is that it separates you from the crowd. Most people spend their lives waiting for the right time, for the right opportunity, for everything to feel perfect. When you act now, you're already ahead of the game. You're showing yourself and the world that you're serious about your goals. Remember, every big achievement starts with a small action. The people you admire, the ones who've achieved great things, they started just like you with a decision to act. They didn't wait for everything to be perfect, they started where they were. And because they started, they created momentum, they learned, they grew, and they succeeded. So what's stopping you from taking the first step right now? It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be something. Whether it's making a phone call, writing down your goals, or taking a single step toward your dream, do it today. Don't wait for the right moment, because the right moment is now. Time is ticking, and the longer you wait, the more opportunities you miss. Start now. Act now. Don't wait for life to hand you the perfect circumstances. Create them. Use what you have, do what you can, and trust that the rest will fall into place. You've got what it takes to move forward, but it starts with you taking that first step. So stop waiting and start doing. Your future self will thank you. Number 3, use desperation as fuel. Desperation is one of the most powerful forces you'll ever feel. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also one of the greatest motivators. When you're desperate, you're willing to step outside your comfort zone, and that's where real change happens. Desperation doesn't let you stay still. It pushes you forward, even when every part of you wants to stop. Think about the times in your life when you felt backed into a corner. Maybe it was a financial struggle, a relationship that was falling apart, or a moment when everything seemed to be going wrong. What did you do? Chances are you didn't just sit there, you found a way out. You tapped into strength and creativity you didn't even know you had. That's the power of desperation. It forces you to act. Nobody wants to feel desperate. It's not a pleasant feeling. But it can be your greatest ally if you let it. Desperation strips away excuses. When you're desperate, you don't have time to overthink or second-guess yourself. You just do what needs to be done. And often that's exactly what you need to break through the barriers holding you back. When you're broke, tired, or feeling like you've hit rock bottom, it's easy to think that all hope is lost. But the truth is, that's the moment when you have the most potential to change your life. Why? Because when you've got nothing left to lose, you're free to take risks, you're free to try new things, to step into opportunities you might have ignored before. Desperation clears the path. It's like a fire burning away all the distractions and fears that used to hold you back. Some of the greatest success stories started with someone who was desperate. Think about it. How many entrepreneurs started their businesses because they were out of options? How many people turned their lives around because they had no choice but to find a way? Desperation is the spark that ignites action. It's the moment when you decide enough is enough. And that decision can change everything. When you're desperate, you stop worrying about perfection. You stop waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions. You just start. You figure it out as you go. And that's where the magic happens. Progress isn't made by waiting, it's made by moving. Desperation gets you moving. It's also important to recognize that desperation doesn't mean you're weak. In fact, it's the opposite. When you use desperation as fuel, you're showing incredible strength. You're taking a situation that could crush you and turning it into an opportunity to grow. That takes courage. It takes determination. And it shows that you're not willing to give up no matter how hard things get. Desperation also teaches you resourcefulness. When you're in a tough spot, you start to see possibilities you never noticed before. You find solutions where others see problems. You make the most of what you have, and often that's enough to get you moving in the right direction. Resourcefulness is a skill that will serve you for the rest of your life, and it's one of the greatest gifts that desperation can give you. One of the biggest lessons you can learn from desperation is that you are stronger than you think. When you're pushed to your limits, you discover what you're really capable of. You find strength you didn't know you had. You realize that you can handle more than you ever thought possible. And that realization changes you. It gives you confidence. It gives you resilience. It makes you unstoppable. Of course, using desperation as fuel doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It's okay to feel scared, to feel uncertain, to feel overwhelmed. But don't let those feelings stop you. Let them push you forward. Let them remind you of what's at stake. Use them as a reminder of why you can't afford to stay where you are. Feel the fear, but take action anyway. When you're desperate, you also learn the value of gratitude. It might sound strange, but it's true. In those moments when you're struggling, you start to appreciate the little things. A kind word, a helping hand, a small victory. These things mean so much more when you're fighting to keep going. Gratitude gives you strength. It reminds you that even in the darkest times, there's still something good. And that's enough to keep you moving forward. It's also worth remembering that desperation is temporary. It doesn't last forever. The actions you take today, the choices you make, they're building a foundation for a better future. Every step you take brings you closer to the life you want. And as you move forward, the desperation that once felt so overwhelming starts to fade. It's replaced by hope, by confidence, by a sense of purpose. If you're feeling desperate right now, don't let it defeat you. Let it drive you. Let it be the reason you take that first step, even if it's small. Remember, action creates momentum, and momentum makes it easier to keep going. Use your desperation to push yourself forward, one step at a time. And if you're not feeling desperate right now, think about those moments when you were. Think about how you overcame them. Think about the strength and resilience you found within yourself. Let those memories remind you of what you're capable of. And let them inspire you to keep pushing, to keep growing, to keep moving forward. Desperation isn't something to fear. It's something to use. It's a reminder that you're capable of so much more than you realize. It's a call to action, a challenge to rise above your circumstances and create the life you want. So embrace it, use it, and let it fuel your journey to success. Number 4, the power of starting alone. Starting alone can feel overwhelming, but it's one of the most courageous decisions you can make. It's not about being isolated, it's about proving to yourself that you can take the first step without waiting for someone else to join in. The idea of having support is comforting, but there's incredible power in moving forward on your own terms. When you begin alone, you have full control over your vision. You don't have to dilute your ideas or seek consensus. This is your opportunity to trust your instincts and pursue what feels right for you. There's a sense of freedom in not having to wait for validation or agreement. You set the pace, define the path, and decide what success looks like. The start of any journey can be intimidating, especially when you're the only one walking the path. But it's also a time for discovery. You learn about your strengths and weaknesses, your resilience, and your capacity to adapt. These lessons become part of your foundation, building confidence with every step you take. Sometimes starting alone is necessary because others might not understand your vision. It's not that they don't care, it's just that your dreams are uniquely yours. By moving forward without waiting for approval, you're showing commitment to your goals. This commitment is what separates those who succeed from those who merely dream. Starting alone can also teach you the value of simplicity. You don't need a complicated plan or a team of experts to begin. All you need is a clear goal and the willingness to take action. As you progress, the resources and support you need will often appear, but the key is to start where you are with what you have. There's a certain strength in being your own motivator. It's easy to rely on others to push you forward, but when you're the one driving yourself, it creates a deeper sense of purpose. You become your own cheerleader, your own source of encouragement, and that internal motivation is something no one can take away from you. Starting alone also builds resilience. Challenges are inevitable, but when you face them head-on, you develop problem-solving skills that will serve you for a lifetime. Each obstacle becomes a lesson, and each lesson adds to your ability to navigate future challenges. This self-reliance becomes one of your greatest assets. It's important to remember that starting alone doesn't mean staying alone. As you make progress, you'll attract people who resonate with your vision. These connections often feel more genuine because they're built on shared values and goals. But these relationships happen naturally. They're a result of your decision to move forward independently, not a prerequisite for action. When you start alone, you're free to make mistakes without the fear of judgment. These early missteps are part of the process, and they're often where the greatest growth happens. Without the pressure of having to explain or justify yourself to others, you can take risks and experiment with different approaches. This freedom fosters creativity and innovation. Taking that first step on your own is a declaration of belief in yourself. It's saying, I am capable. I am enough. That belief is powerful. It carries you through the doubts and uncertainties. It reminds you that you don't need permission or approval to chase your dreams. Starting alone can also teach you to appreciate the journey. Without the distractions of others' opinions or expectations, you can focus on the progress you're making, no matter how small. Each step forward is a victory, a testament to your determination and courage. It's easy to feel like you need a perfect plan or the ideal circumstances to begin, but that's rarely the case. The truth is, most successful journeys start with uncertainty. The key is to begin anyway. Clarity often comes from action, not planning. By starting alone, you give yourself the chance to figure things out as you go. The strength you build by starting alone extends far beyond your current goals. It shapes who you are as a person. It teaches you resilience, self-trust, and the ability to adapt. These qualities will benefit you in every area of your life, making you stronger and more confident with each challenge you face. Starting alone isn't about proving anything to others, it's about proving something to yourself. It's about showing that you're willing to take responsibility for your dreams and put in the effort to make them a reality. That sense of ownership is empowering, and it's what will keep you moving forward. There's no denying that starting alone can be tough. There will be moments of doubt, times when you wish you had someone to lean on. But those moments are also opportunities to dig deep and find your inner strength. They're reminders of why you started in the first place and what you're working toward. If you're hesitating because you feel like you need someone to join you, let go of that thought. The most important person in your journey is you. Take that first step, no matter how small. Trust that as you move forward, the path will become clearer, and the people and resources you need will come into your life when the time is right. Starting alone is an act of courage. It's a choice to prioritize your dreams and take action, even in the face of uncertainty. Embrace that courage. Use it to fuel your progress. And remember, every great journey begins with a single step. Make that step today, and trust yourself to keep going. Number 5, broke is a temporary state. Being broke is a temporary state, not a permanent condition. It's easy to feel stuck when your resources are limited, but what you have right now doesn't define what you're capable of achieving. Your current situation is just a starting point, not the end of the story. You can move forward from here, but it begins with a change in mindset. Feeling broke often comes with frustration and self-doubt, but it's also a wake-up call. It forces you to think differently, to get creative with how you use your time and energy. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, start looking at what you do have. Maybe you have skills, determination, or even just the willingness to learn. These are assets, and they're often more valuable than money. Many people who have achieved great success started with very little. What set them apart wasn't their bank account, it was their ability to see possibilities where others saw obstacles. When you're broke, you learn to appreciate small victories. You develop resilience because you have no choice but to push through challenges. This toughness becomes a part of you, something that money can't buy. It's also important to separate your worth from your financial situation. Being broke doesn't mean you're failing, it just means you're at a particular stage of your journey. It's a stage where you can learn, grow, and build a strong foundation for the future. Use this time to focus on your skills and knowledge. Invest in yourself, even if the investment is just your time and effort. When you're broke, it can feel like the world is against you. But this is also when you find out what you're really made of. It's easy to stay motivated when everything is going well, but real growth happens when you keep going despite the odds. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Each challenge you overcome adds to your confidence and strength. There's a certain freedom in starting from nothing. You have nothing to lose, which means you can take risks and try new things. Sometimes being broke forces you to be resourceful in ways you never thought possible. It pushes you to think outside the box and come up with solutions you might have overlooked if everything had been easy. Being broke also teaches you gratitude. When you achieve something, even something small, it feels significant because you know how much effort it took to get there. This sense of gratitude stays with you, reminding you to appreciate the progress you've made and the opportunities you've created for yourself. It's easy to compare yourself to others and feel like you're falling behind. But everyone's journey is different. Just because someone else seems ahead doesn't mean they've had it easy, and it doesn't mean you can't catch up or even surpass them. Focus on your own path. Use this time to build a foundation that's solid and sustainable. Your time and energy are your greatest resources. Even if you don't have money, you can still take action. You can learn new skills, build connections, and take small steps toward your goals. Every effort you make compounds over time, turning into progress that might not be immediately visible but is happening nonetheless. Don't let being broke make you afraid to dream big. Sometimes it's the lack of resources that forces you to think big and act boldly. You might not have much, but you have yourself, your ideas, and your determination. That's where real success starts. Believe in your ability to create a better future and let that belief drive your actions. Surround yourself with positivity. It's easy to feel weighed down when you're struggling, but negativity only makes things harder. Seek out inspiration, whether it's through books, videos, or conversations with people who uplift you. Feed your mind with thoughts that encourage growth and possibility, not limitation. Being broke is temporary because circumstances change. What doesn't change is the work you put in and the mindset you develop during tough times. These are the things that carry you forward, helping you build a life that reflects your true potential. It's not about where you start, it's about where you're going. Use this time to focus on your vision. Picture where you want to be and work toward that vision step by step. The road might be long, but every small action you take gets you closer to your destination. Stay committed to your goals, even when progress feels slow. Trust that your efforts will pay off in time. Sometimes it's the very experience of being broke that becomes your greatest strength. It teaches you lessons about perseverance, creativity, and resilience that will serve you for the rest of your life. These lessons shape you into someone who can handle challenges and create opportunities no matter the circumstances. Remember, being broke is just a phase. It doesn't define you, and it doesn't have to limit you. What defines you is how you respond to this phase, how you choose to move forward, despite the obstacles. Keep taking action, keep believing in yourself, and keep working toward a better future. You have what it takes to rise above any challenge, including this one. Number 6, no one is coming to save you. That's not meant to discourage you, it's meant to empower you. In life, we sometimes get caught up in the idea that someone else will come along and fix our problems, but waiting for that help can keep us stuck. The truth is, the person who will make the biggest difference in your life is you. Once you embrace that, you gain a sense of control and freedom that can propel you forward. When you realize no one is coming to save you, it can feel overwhelming at first. But think about this, if you're the one responsible for your life, that means you're in charge. You get to make the choices. You get to decide where you go from here. It's not about blaming anyone else or feeling sorry for yourself. It's about taking ownership of your situation and understanding that your future depends on the actions you take today. One of the most important steps you can take is to stop waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect conditions. Life rarely gives us a perfect setup. If you're waiting for everything to line up before you take action, you might be waiting forever. Instead, start where you are with what you have. It might not feel like enough, but every small step you take brings you closer to your goals. Momentum builds over time, and before you know it, you'll look back and see how far you've come. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that someone else has the answers. Maybe you're looking for a mentor, a partner, or even a lucky break to turn things around. While those things can help, they're not the foundation of success. The foundation is you. You're the one who shows up every day, puts in the work, and pushes through the challenges. You're the one who decides to keep going, even when it's tough. Taking responsibility for your life doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. It's okay to seek advice, learn from others, and build a support network. But at the end of the day, the decisions and the effort are yours. No one can want your success more than you do, and no one can put in the work for you. Understanding this isn't a burden, it's a source of strength. When you stop waiting for someone to save you, you start finding solutions on your own. You become resourceful and creative. You figure out how to make things work with what you have. That kind of mindset is powerful because it teaches you that you're capable of handling challenges. Each problem you solve on your own builds confidence and resilience, making you stronger for whatever comes next. Sometimes we're tempted to blame our circumstances or other people for where we are in life. While it's true that life can be unfair and we don't always control what happens to us, we do control how we respond. Blaming others or waiting for someone to rescue us keeps us stuck. Taking responsibility allows us to move forward. It shifts the focus from what's wrong to what we can do about it. When you embrace the idea that no one is coming to save you, you start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, you focus on what you can do with what you do have. You begin to take action, and action is what creates change. Even small steps can lead to big results over time. The key is to keep moving forward no matter what. It's important to remember that self-reliance doesn't mean you're on your own forever. As you take action and build momentum, you'll attract opportunities and people who can help you along the way. But those opportunities and connections come as a result of your effort, not as a substitute for it. People are drawn to those who are already taking charge of their lives because it shows that you're serious about your goals. There's a sense of empowerment that comes from knowing you're in control of your life. You don't have to wait for permission or approval to go after what you want. You don't have to rely on someone else to give you the green light. You can start right now with whatever resources and abilities you have. The sooner you take action, the sooner you'll start seeing progress. Taking responsibility for your life also means accepting that there will be setbacks and failures along the way. That's okay, failure isn't the end, it's a part of the process. Each failure teaches you something valuable and helps you grow. When you take ownership of your journey, you learn to see setbacks as opportunities to learn and improve. You understand that every step, even the difficult ones, is bringing you closer to your goals. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is the belief that you are enough. You have what it takes to create a better life for yourself. It might take time and effort, but you're capable of doing it. When you stop waiting for someone else to save you, you start to realize just how strong and capable you really are. You discover a sense of independence and confidence that no one can take away from you. As you move forward, remind yourself that every small action you take matters. Each step is a building block for the future you want to create. Even on the days when progress feels slow, trust that your efforts are adding up. Keep going, keep learning, and keep believing in yourself. The journey might not be easy, but it's worth it. No one is coming to save you, but that's not a reason to feel discouraged. It's a reminder that you have the power to create the life you want. Take responsibility for your life, take action, and trust in your ability to overcome challenges. You are stronger than you realize, and you have what it takes to succeed. The future is in your hands, and it's up to you to make it happen. Number 7, stop waiting for help. It's easy to fall into the mindset that someone else will come along and solve your problems. But the truth is, waiting for help can be one of the biggest obstacles standing between you and your goals. The longer you wait for someone else to step in, the more time you lose, and time is something you can't get back. If you want to make progress, you need to take charge and stop waiting for others to pave the way for you. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, I'll start when someone helps me, or I'll wait until the right opportunity comes along? While those thoughts might feel comforting in the moment, they often lead to inaction. And inaction keeps you stuck. The reality is, no one else can care about your success more than you do. No one else can take the steps you need to take. Your journey starts with you deciding to move forward, no matter who is or isn't there to support you. Life isn't perfect, and the help you're hoping for might never come. That's not meant to discourage you, it's meant to inspire you to act now with what you have. Waiting for someone else to make things easier or smoother will only delay your progress. Instead, look around and figure out what you can do on your own. You might not have all the resources you wish for, but you have enough to take the first step, and once you take that step, you'll start to see what's possible. When you stop waiting for help, you begin to rely on yourself. That self-reliance is powerful because it puts you in control. It teaches you to solve problems, make decisions, and push forward even when the path isn't clear. Each time you overcome an obstacle on your own, you build confidence. You prove to yourself that you're capable of handling challenges, and that confidence becomes the foundation for even bigger achievements. It's natural to want help, and there's nothing wrong with accepting it when it's offered. But help should never be the reason you start or don't start your journey. Help is a bonus, not a requirement. If you keep waiting for someone to come along and make things easier, you'll miss out on the opportunity to grow stronger and smarter through your own efforts. The process of figuring things out for yourself is what prepares you for the bigger challenges ahead. Waiting for help often stems from fear of failure, fear of the unknown, or fear of not being good enough. But here's the thing, fear doesn't go away by waiting. It only fades when you face it head on. Taking action, even when you're unsure or afraid, is what helps you overcome that fear. The more you act, the more you realize that you're capable of handling whatever comes your way. Sometimes we wait for help because we believe we need permission to go after what we want. But you don't need anyone's permission to pursue your dreams. You don't need anyone to tell you that it's okay to start. The only person who can give you that permission is you. When you stop waiting for others to validate your goals, you free yourself to take action and create the life you want. Another common reason people wait for help is because they feel they lack the skills, knowledge, or resources to succeed. But the truth is, most successful people didn't start with everything they needed. They started with what they had and learned along the way. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You just need to be willing to figure things out as you go. Each step you take teaches you something new, and over time, those lessons add up. Taking action without waiting for help doesn't mean you're alone forever. As you move forward, you'll attract opportunities and people who want to support you. But those connections come because you've already demonstrated that you're serious about your goals. People are drawn to those who take initiative because it shows commitment and determination. By starting on your own, you create momentum that others can see and want to be a part of. When you stop waiting for help, you also stop making excuses. It's easy to blame your circumstances or the lack of support for why you're not where you want to be. But blaming others or your situation doesn't change anything. Taking responsibility does. When you decide to take action, no matter how small, you take control of your future. You shift from being reactive to being proactive. And that shift makes all the difference. The journey won't always be easy. There will be challenges, setbacks, and moments when you feel like giving up. But those moments are what make you stronger. Each time you push through a difficult situation on your own, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. And that inner strength is something no one can take away from you. As you move forward, remind yourself that progress doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be fast, it just has to be consistent. Every small step you take, every problem you solve, and every fear you face brings you closer to your goals. And the more you rely on yourself, the more you'll see that you have everything you need to succeed. Stop waiting for help and start taking action. The life you want is within your reach, but it's up to you to make it happen. Trust in your ability to figure things out. Believe in your strength to overcome challenges. And most importantly, take that first step today. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll see what you're capable of achieving. Number 8. Broke is not the end. Being broke is not the end of the story. It's just a chapter, a moment in time that doesn't define who you are or what you're capable of. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you don't have enough, whether it's money, resources, or support. But being broke doesn't mean you're broken. It's a state, not a permanent label. The way you think about it, the actions you take while in it, that's what determines what comes next. When you're broke, you see the world differently. You notice things you might have ignored before. You start paying attention to what you have instead of what you don't. This clarity can be a gift because it forces you to focus on what truly matters. It challenges you to make the most of your time and energy. You don't have the luxury of waste, so every step counts. That discipline can set you apart. Sometimes being broke can be the push you need to start thinking creatively. When the obvious solutions aren't available, you're forced to find new ones. Some of the most successful people in the world began their journeys with nothing. They didn't wait for resources to appear. They used what was within their reach: ideas, effort, persistence. They turned their lack into opportunity by refusing to let their situation hold them back. It's okay to feel frustrated or even scared when you're broke. But don't let those feelings paralyze you. Let them remind you of what you don't want to go back to. And let that drive you forward. Use those emotions as fuel to build something better. The key is to take control of the story you're telling yourself. Instead of saying, "I'm stuck," tell yourself, "This is temporary," instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can I do right now?" There's power in knowing that being broke doesn't mean you lack value. Your skills, knowledge, and determination don't disappear just because your wallet is empty. You can still make progress even with limited means. The path might look different than someone else's, but that doesn't make it any less valid. Success isn't about how much you start with, it's about how much you're willing to put in. One of the hardest things about being broke is the pressure to compare yourself to others. It can feel like everyone else has it easier, like they're ahead while you're struggling. But comparisons are distractions. They take your focus away from what you need to do. Remember, everyone's journey is unique. You're not behind, you're exactly where you need to be to learn and grow into the person who can handle what's coming next. Being broke teaches resilience. When you don't have much, every win feels bigger. Every step forward is a reminder that you're capable of moving beyond your circumstances. It builds strength because you've had to fight harder for every bit of progress. That strength becomes a foundation for the future. It's what helps you keep going when the road gets tough. The lessons you learn while you're broke are lessons that stay with you. You learn how to manage your time, energy, and resources wisely. You discover the value of persistence and the importance of gratitude. These lessons shape your character and prepare you for bigger challenges. They remind you that success isn't just about the destination, it's about who you become along the way. Being broke is not a reason to stop dreaming. It's not a reason to give up on what you want. In fact, it's the perfect time to dream bigger. When you have little, you have less to lose and more to gain. This is your chance to take risks, try new things, and push yourself beyond what you thought was possible. The courage you build now will carry you far. Remember, broke is not forever. It's not the end of your story unless you decide to stop writing. You have the power to turn things around. You might not see the results immediately, but every effort you make adds up. Every small step brings you closer to where you want to be. Believe in your ability to overcome and trust that better days are ahead. The most important thing to do when you're broke is to keep moving. Don't let the weight of your situation hold you down. Focus on what you can control and take action, even if it's just one small thing at a time. The future isn't set, it's built by the choices you make today. Keep building, keep learning, and keep believing in your potential. Being broke is just a chapter, not the final word. The story's yours to write. Number 9, learn to stand alone. When you learn to stand alone, you discover a strength you never knew you had. It's not easy to depend on yourself. It's not comfortable. But when you're on your own, that's when you really figure out what you're capable of. And let me tell you, it's more than you think. You might not feel strong right now. You might feel like everything is weighing you down, but standing alone is what builds the kind of resilience that changes lives. You see, depending on others can sometimes be a crutch. It's easy to lean on someone when you're unsure. It's comforting to have someone else take responsibility when things get hard. But when you're alone, you have no choice but to take charge. You have to figure things out, make decisions, and face the consequences. And that's where the magic happens. That's when you start to trust yourself. When you learn to stand alone, you stop waiting for someone to come to your rescue. You stop waiting for someone to tell you what to do. You stop waiting for someone to solve your problems. Instead, you take ownership of your life. Ownership is the key to transformation. When you're the one calling the shots, you're also the one reaping the rewards. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with accepting help or working with others. But relying on others to fix your life is a trap. Because here's the truth, no one can care about your dreams as much as you do. No one can put in the work for you. No one can live your life for you. And no one can grow for you. That's your job. Think about it. The strongest trees don't grow in perfect conditions. They grow in storms. They grow in wind and rain and snow. And because of that, their roots grow deeper, their trunks grow stronger, and their branches reach higher. The same goes for you. When you stand alone, you're forced to dig deep. You're forced to grow. And that growth is what makes you unshakable. So if you're feeling alone right now, don't see it as a punishment. See it as a gift. See it as your chance to prove to yourself that you have what it takes. Because you do. You've had it all along. It's just been waiting for the right moment to show itself. And that moment is now. Standing alone doesn't mean you have to isolate yourself. It doesn't mean you can't have friends or mentors or a support system. It just means you're the one leading the charge. You're the one deciding the direction. And you're the one who takes responsibility for the outcome. So here's my challenge to you. Stop waiting for someone to stand with you. Stop waiting for someone to hold your hand. Stop waiting for someone to show you the way. Stand up, stand tall, and stand alone if you have to. Because when you learn to stand alone, you learn what it means to truly stand for yourself, and there's no greater strength than that. Number 10, make the most of what you have. Making the most of what you have starts with a shift in perspective. It's easy to get caught up in what you don't have the resources, the money, the time. But let me ask you this, what about what you do have? Have you taken a good look at the tools already in your hands? Because when you start to value what's in front of you, you'll be amazed at what you can do with it. Some of the greatest achievements in history started with very little. People who didn't wait for the perfect conditions or the ideal moment. They looked at what they had and asked themselves, how can I make this work? And that's the mindset you need. It's not about waiting for more. It's about doing more with what you already have. Think about this. You might not have a lot of money, but maybe you've got time. Use it wisely. Invest it in learning a new skill, improving your health, or building connections. You might not have a big network, but maybe you have determination. Use that drive to keep moving forward, even when the odds seem stacked against you. It's not about what you lack. It's about what you're willing to do with what you have. Too often, we waste time wishing for things to be different. We get caught up in comparisons, looking at what others have and feeling like we're falling short. But comparison is a thief. It steals your focus, your energy, and your belief in yourself. Instead of looking at what someone else has, turn your attention to what you can do right now. Because the truth is, someone out there is wishing they had what you've got. When you start using what you have, you create momentum. And momentum is powerful. It builds on itself. One small step leads to another. And before you know it, you've covered more ground than you ever thought possible. But you've got to start. You've got to take that first step, no matter how small it seems. Let's not underestimate the power of creativity and resourcefulness. Sometimes the best solutions come from working with limitations. When you don't have everything handed to you, you're forced to think outside the box. You're forced to get creative, to innovate, to find new ways of doing things. And that's where breakthroughs happen. The key is gratitude. When you appreciate what you have, you're more likely to use it wisely. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's possible. It helps you see opportunities instead of obstacles. And when you're operating from a place of gratitude, you're more resourceful, more determined, and more focused. So take a moment to reflect. What do you have right now that you've been overlooking? What skills, connections, or resources are at your disposal? How can you use them to move closer to your goals? Don't wait for more. Start with what you've got and make the most of it. Because when you do, you'll find that what you have is more than enough to get started. Stop focusing on what you don't have and start appreciating what you do. Take inventory of your life. Look for the hidden assets, the untapped potential, the overlooked opportunities. Use them. Work with them. Build on. You don't need to have it all figured out to take the first step. You don't need everything to be perfect. What matters is that you start right here, right now, with what you've got. Even if you're tired, even if you're broke, even if you're doing it all alone, those aren't reasons to stop. They're reasons to push harder. Every big success story begins with a moment like this, where someone decided they wouldn't give up. That someone can be you. Take what you've learned today and start applying it to your life. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be huge. Just start. Build momentum one small step at a time. You've got what it takes. Trust yourself, keep moving forward, and never forget you're capable of so much more than you think. Thank you for being here today. Now go out there and make it happen.